My name's Emily, and I'm going to give a short talk and lead us into a quiet meditation for this part of the service. The theme today is Perseverance, Key to Soul Freedom. And it's an interesting combination, a way to look at perseverance that I hadn't framed it like that before. The seed inspiration quote for this week comes from Sunburst's founder, Paulsen. Mental discipline arises from commitment to the vision you seek, knowing what you want, and dedicating your life to bringing it forth into being. So it arises from the commitment to the vision. Now, perseverance, I could talk, we could have a whole weekend workshop about how to persevere in our day-to-day lives about things, but I'm quite sure that there's shelves and shelves in every bookstore that have topics like that. So we're looking at it from a little different angle. But most of us have probably had to experience perseverance if we wanted to learn something that didn't just come super easily to us, or was a complex thing to learn, like learning a whole new language, or something that has a lot of complexity or has a lot of steps to it. Also, if you're trying to teach something, you have to sometimes persevere and keep trying to find new ways to get it through to help, maybe your student doesn't pick it up right away, and you're trying to come up with a new angle or a new approach that will help them. And anytime we've had goals that we've wanted to achieve, pretty much all goals take perseverance. It's kind of like all through our whole life, there's perseverance needed. And there's some holidays that have been happening lately and this coming week that also took perseverance. All these holidays to do with freedom. We had Juneteenth. This is the last day of Pride Month, and this coming week we have American Independence Day. None of those came about absent of perseverance. So it's part of finding freedom, perseverance is. And the tricky thing is, we're talking about our commitment to soul freedom when we're talking today. And, in our day-to-day lives, or in this realm of, I like this new thought that was given to me last week, this realm of time and space that we're in, that we experience things in. Freedom can mean different things to different people. So I had a chance to learn about this part of German culture recently that is, I can't remember the German name for it, actually, but it's like quiet hours. Like the whole country has quiet hours on Sunday. Like no lawn mowing on Sundays in the whole country, because they value having that freedom from noisiness. And the only way you can do that is if everybody does it. And so it's a little different than like an American view of it, like, I would like freedom to choose when I mow my lawn. So it can look differently. It's not so, whenever we're in this realm of time and space, it's hard to find absolutes. There's such an infinite variety going on here that we don't all see eye to eye. But when we can come to an agreement and try to honor each other, I think we're probably heading in the right direction. So, the other thing about finding soul freedom is our souls are already free. It's that we don't really realize it. We aren't living that experience day to day. I know I'm not. Most of us are going around, when I'm like doing my laundry, I'm not thinking about my soul. I'm just thinking about getting the laundry folded or whatever it is. There might be things we're not, let alone being tuned into our soul. Are we realizing how much our soul is of us and how small our human incarnation is of us. It's our perspective on it that it makes us not feel free, and we're not experiencing the freedom that's already there. But our souls are untouched by the circumstances. They're untouched by the happenings of time and space. So there is already that freedom, but how do we experience it? So in my journey of trying to grow into a greater awareness and experience of freedom, I started with some mental thought. And so I guess maybe this would be like part of the branch of yoga, which is all about divine union, yoga meaning divine union, that is called jnana yoga, where you are using your mind to help you break free of your mind, essentially. So a dear Sunburst friend told me recently about a question that they had a love-hate relationship with as a kid. If God made everything, like, who made God? Like, where did God come from? I mean, it's like, it's just this kind of like, whoa, like crack your mind open kind of question. And you can't come up with an answer with your mind. And for me, a lot of that came in and was one of the reasons I really loved studying math. I always liked numbers, and they're so clean and black and white. You get the right answer. You know if you got the right answer. I love that. No mystery. But I began to, the more and more I studied it, I began to find that the classes I was taking involved logic, and you had to use your intuition to think about where I might pull the next part of the logical progression from. So there's intuition in it. And then what really hooked me was studying different types of infinity. There are two types of sizes of infinity. If you count, like there's countably infinite numbers and uncountably infinite numbers. If you take the whole numbers, like 1, 2, 3, and then you include the negative numbers, -1, -2, -3, and 0, those are the integers, and you can set up a pattern of counting that you know is like, if you had infinite time, you would finally get every single one. Like you can go 0, 1, -1, 2, -2, 3, -3. Eventually, you're going to just keep going. You're not leaving any behind in your pattern. But, well, and there's other sets that are bigger than that are also countably infinite, and it's kind of fun to see if you can prove that or prove that it's not, whatever. But most of the numbers are part of a set. Irrational numbers. It's uncountably infinite. There's no way you can make a pattern that you would not just leave enormous swaths of numbers behind as you were counting. And it's like, wow, like already counting to infinity is big. But then, like, I could count to infinity, and every single one I said, I'd leave another infinite amount behind. Like, that's a whole other layer of infinity, and that broke my mind. So this is one of my loves. But I think all these things can help us see what a possible goal to understand would be. Or if you have, like, it doesn't have to be mental. It can be you had a really deep moment of peace as you passed by some tree that was just rustling just right in the wind, and this little feeling of peace washed over you. And you're like, that peace, I want that peace. How do I get more of it? How do I find it? Is there more of that somewhere? And then you try to find those practices or something that can get you into that more and more. All of these ways can help us experience our infiniteness, the depth of peace that our souls have, the depth of joy, the expansive infinitude that our souls have, and really like there's so much mystery in each one of those to dive into and find out and learn and experience more of. One of the great names at Sunburst that's used sometimes to talk about where we came from. What is this source we've come from? What is this beingness that seems to be present in the universe? This consciousness is the divine. We call it I am that I am. And I love this one. It can mean so many different ways, like I am masculine, I am feminine, I am the thatness, which is neither masculine nor feminine. I am the yin, I am the yang. I am what cannot even be described by either of those. It creates this infinite variety when we make all those combinations. I also really love the thought of it being like, when this name came from the story in the Bible where Moses was with the burning bush and like getting a message to take back to the people, and like Moses is like, well, why would they believe me? Like, who should I say told me all this message? And God, or this consciousness through the burning bush, said, like, the great I am, and like, I am that I am. Like, I am, there's consciousness, there's beingness, but there's only so much you can do to describe me. There's just, you can describe some, but you just can't encapsulate it. So that's the great mystery of our souls, the great mystery of the divine, that we have a chance to taste and grow into. We have the opportunity to dedicate ourselves to that kind of vision, bringing that more and more into our awareness so we can live from that and not live from the perspective of being only that we are humans, but being that we are fully part of that kind of consciousness. We are a wave that's part of the ocean of consciousness. We're not separate from it, even though we're very busy doing our wave things. We're still ocean, and to get to know our oceaniness. So I kind of veered off from perseverance a little bit, but one of the key, one of the major practices in the tradition of yoga and in a lot of different mystical traditions is meditation. And this is an act of perseverance. And it's, I guess when I first saw that my topic was perseverance, I was like, I don't like perseverance. Because, sorry, it's necessary in all your life. You know, obviously I've had to have perseverance. But I always conceived of that thought as a pushing, uncomfortable pushing, is how I always thought of what perseverance was. And so my first thought was like, oh no, I have to talk about that. But I started to think about how perseverance has worked for me in a meditation practice. And it is truly, like Norm's quote, I stick with it because I desire so much that feeling of peace and that feeling of connecting into that love, that infiniteness. I desire that so much, I stick with it. But also, I don't make much progress when I take a pushing through it approach for myself. I've really had to bring so much compassion in and gentleness. And so I'm sticking with it, but I'm doing it in such a gentle, just turning back towards what it is that I am desiring. Instead of, at the beginning when I first was learning meditation, I would get so frustrated with how busy my mind was. And my mind is still busy, kind of a lot of the time. And now I have learned how to be compassionate with my mind and with myself for having a busy mind. And I've just learned the habit of bringing my attention back. Bring it back to what I'm desiring. Bring it back. Just bring it back. It's okay that it's there. It's trying to help me. It's part of me, and it helps so much in our lives. But right in this moment, Thank you, and you're welcome to take a rest, mind. And we'll just go back to the focus of that infinite love that is here for us, that we are part of. So I invite you to, when we have our quiet meditation today, if you have ever struggled with feeling frustrated, that you're distracted or something, to give yourself a break. Give yourself a feeling of compassion, and know that it's not instant. It's not like when you learn a language, you don't just instantly sit down and you're fluent after you crack the book open or after you sit down for one lesson. And so it's the same. We build that habit of returning to that focus, and pretty soon it's easier and easier. We've built the pathway. We've blazed the trail, and it's easier and easier to find that trail back to our focus and our heart's deepest desire. So let's go ahead and find a comfortable seat, and we'll spend maybe about 15 minutes in quiet. And a simple way, if you have a meditation technique that you like to practice, absolutely welcome to do that. If you aren't, if you don't, then, or if you just feel like doing a breath meditation, you're welcome to join me in that. So we're going to just allow the breath to be breathing however it's naturally breathing itself. So you no need to force it to be doing anything, force it to, breathe any certain type of way, and pay attention to it. You can feel it coming warm out your nose and going back in cool through your nose, or you may feel in your torso rising and, parts of you rising and falling. You may, even as you get quieter and quieter, you may hear ever so quietly your breath. So we're just allowing the body to be still, allowing the breath to be calm, allowing our mind to take a break, and sending it appreciation when it shows up busy, and sending ourselves compassion. And we just return to that vision that fills our heart with joy and love. In every face shines the sun. Within each one of us is the light of truth, the unshakable peace of our divine source. I thank all the elders and ancient ones who've blazed trails showing us ways we can get in touch with that immense and joyous part of who we are, and left inspiration to encourage us along the way. May we all keep returning our attention to those deepest desires within our hearts, what's calling us to go beyond what we thought we might have been limited by. When we begin to recognize that light shining within ourselves, begin to recognize that it's within everyone. And it changes the way we look at everyone. It's hard to push against something that's the same as you. You know, how can we deeply honor each other, and deeply listen to each other, and see the unique way that the light is shining through each other one, and celebrate that? It will be a fun process.
Morning finds you with me. When I look within me to find you there, day long finds you around me. When I look around me, keep on trying now, children. You gotta keep on trying now, children. You gotta keep on trying for the sun. Find out. You gotta find out where you're going. Find out. You gotta find out where you're going. Find out. You gotta find out where you're going now. Evening finds me reflecting on the things I have tried for today. Stars and moon shine so brightly. I pray tonight we will find a way. free.